Ross? Not at the moment.
Beautiful. All right. I'll call this meeting for April 18th to order. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item, Twyla,
Is roll call. Counselor Albert,
is excused. He has the flu.
Counselor Colby,
Here.
Counselor Crawford,
Here.
Counselor Lunt,
Here.
Counselor Ward,
Here
and Counselor Crafts,
is also excused.
and Counselor Brunel.
Here.
Okay.
Next item, Twyla.
Under Good News and Recognition, Order 2017-93, Municipal Clerks Week Proclamation.
Do you have that to read?
I do. Would you like me to read it before you make a motion?
Absolutely. No, it's to you. You don't have to read that. Who has a lovely speaking voice? Cassie, go right ahead. In our house, that's called nose goes. Everybody else, you went last.
Proclamation Municipal Clerks Week, May 7th to 13th, 2017. Whereas the Office of the Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the Office of the Municipal Clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the Office of the Municipal Clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their naturality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. Whereas the municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. Whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk through participation in educating programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the municipal clerk. Now, therefore, we, the Town Council of Lisbon, do recognize the week of May 7th through May 13th, 2017, as Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our municipal clerk, Twyla Lysette, and to all municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent.
Thank you very much.
Great job, Twyla.
For the official vote, I need a motion, please.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
5-0. Passed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Twyla.
The next order is 2017-94, Kids to Parks Day Proclamation.
I'm
Please.
not reading that one.
No. Thank you for reading the last one.
This
Thank you.
one's shorter. Whereas May 20th, 2017 is the 7th Kids to Parks Day, organized and launched by the National Park Trust. Whereas Kids to Parks Day empowers kids and encourages families to get outdoors and visit America's parks. And whereas it is important to introduce a new generation to our nation's parks. And whereas we should encourage children to lead a more active lifestyle to combat the issues of childhood obesity, diabetes, hypertension, hypercholesterolemia, and whereas Kids to Parks Day is open to all children and adults across the country to encourage a large and diverse group of participants, and whereas Kids to Parks Day will broaden children's appreciation for nature and outdoors. And now, therefore, we, the Town Council of Lisbon, do hereby proclaim to participate in Kids to Parks Day. We, the Town Council, urge residents of Lisbon to make time May 20th, 2017, to take the children in their lives to a neighborhood, state, or national park.
Thank you, Twyla. I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Order passed, 5-0.
Thank you. Next item, Twyla.
Public hearing, Chapter 46, Street Acceptance Amendment.
Anybody wishing to speak on behalf of this? Feel free.
Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Next item, 12.
Is a public hearing for the USDA Rural Development Grant Loan application.
I will open the public hearing on that matter, if anybody would like to speak on behalf of that. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing on that.
Next item is audience participation and response for agenda items.
Anybody wishing to speak before the council, feel free. Wow, we're flying.
We are.
3 for 3. I will close that one and keep moving.
Okay. The next order is consent agenda. Any counselor wishing to have any item removed may do so now. Items removed will be taken up after. Seeing none, Order 2017-95 to approve the accounts payable and payroll warrants 124, 125, 126, and 127, along with the workshop minutes of March 28, 2017, the regular minutes of April 4, 2017, and the mobile home park renewals as follows. Avery Street Park, Bowden Mobile Home Park, Brookwood Court, Davis Street Park, Gendron's Mobile Home Park, Grimmel's Trailer Park, St. Anne's Mobile Home Park, Town and Country Village, Warumbo Estates, and Warumbo Park. And we had a couple extras, which was the Colonial Gardens and Whispering Pines were the two we added.
And
And
poll-
then we have a
poll
poll permit for
right.
Fairpoint for the Moody Road.
I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Order passed 5-0.
Next item, 12.
Under Council Orders, Ordinances, and Resolutions, Order 2017-96 is an ordinance to adopt Chapter 46, the Street Acceptance Standards Amendment. This is a second reading. A roll call vote is required.
Don, anything you want to add other than the two hearings to get us to this point?
Just that, comment I would have is that letter with the council.
Right. Everybody was good with that, with Ryan's letter endorsing what you guys had done, so. I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I need a second.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote.
Yep. Council Kobe?
Yes.
Council Brunel?
Yes.
Councilor Lunt?
Yes.
Councilor Ward?
Yes.
Councilor Crafts is absent. Councilor Crawford?
Yes.
2, 3, 4, 5 yeas, 0 nays. Order passed.
Next item?
For 2017-97, the USDA Rural Development Grant Loan Application.
Any discussion on this? Try your luck, sir.
Brian Layton, Public Works Director. This is back in front of you again, just based on the fact we're having the public hearing tonight and pending any comments, if we needed to have any further discussion. But Diane just wanted another approval to continue with the application process, which we are currently moving through at this point.
I see no issue. I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I need a second.
I guess I'll second. Nobody's.
All in favor? That's roll call, or?
Yeah.
No?
All in
just
favor?
Regular 5-0, yes. Okay,
Thank
order
you, sir.
passed.
Next item, 12?
Order 2017-98, the natural gas conversion at the Lisbon Library and Lisbon Falls Fire Company.
We talked a little bit about this at the workshop last week,
Yep.
but with the developments downtown Lisbon Falls, there's potential for Unitil to extend natural gas supply to striking distance from the Falls Fire Station as well as the library. We're not 100% sure if there's going to be a cost associated with the Unitil portion of the extension. It all depends on how many people sign easements and agree to sign on to them, and if there's enough usage to offset the cost that they have to invest to run it to wherever they decide to stop it. We did get our HVAC provider to look at the boilers at the library and the Falls Fire Station to give us an idea of what would be needed to retrofit those, as well as if they were to the point where they needed to be, if we were going to do this, to just replace them rather than putting a natural gas burner on a boiler that may need replacement. The Falls Fire Station, we got two options: to replace the entire boiler with a new maximum efficiency boiler. We're looking at about $18,000 to upgrade, but that'd be a full replacement, as well as bringing some things up to code, lining the chimney, and those things. The alternative would be to install a natural gas burner on that existing boiler. That's about $6,000. But that boiler's already had to have some major repairs. And I think the strong recommendation is just to put in a newer, high-efficiency boiler for that building. The library, was right around what kind of been thinking all along, around $5,600 to install just a burner at that location. That boiler is in excellent condition, and they didn't see any need to do anything other than, again, there's a few things that they need to do based on firing natural gas versus oil to be within code, but that was a much more reasonable alternative. So I think at this point, we wanted to bring it to you in a formal setting, have you kind of give us a yay or a nay if this is the direction you'd like us to go. There's still some things up in the air, but we can put this out to bid if you'd like us to at this point, and then see where the chips fall Unitil. Just not sure what the pleasure is of the board at this point.
Is the intention to actually go before June or after June? What are we talking?
I'm honestly
I know it's not budgeted
positive
next
what
year, I
their-
just didn't know if
No, and I don't know if it was gonna be a budgetary item or if it was something that we were talking about from a different source. I don't know what your.
What's your,
I would do that through unassigned fund balance. Because it's gonna be a one-time.
out of next year's funds? So we'd add it to the list?
Yes, add it to the list. That's what I would do, instead of budget it.
But right now, you're just asking to put it out to bid, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, that would be the point. At this stage of the game, based on the information that we have, I think my opinion would be to put the Falls Fire Station boiler as a replacement.
Right.
Natural gas boiler, and then we would still bid out the burner replacement at the library, and I just do it as one combined project.
What's the age on the fire?
Don't have it here. I want to say that was, and I'm going off strictly memory, I think it's a mid-90s install for a guess. I'm not 100% positive on that, though. I can find that out.
Okay. For the purpose of tonight, is everybody comfortable to have that added to our shopping list of future discussions, how to pay for that next year?
Yeah, I'm happy to have it. I'll add on the list. I'm not really happy to have it, going out to bid before we've actually budgeted for it. I'm not agreeable to that idea, and I think you gotta get the cart before the horse here.
That's fine. I just trying to gauge, like I said.
Right, gauge where
Trying
you're
to
at.
keep this moving with.
Well, there's no
because
commitment.
Unitil
Right.
needs the-
With
Right.
I would
asking-
rather find out other options of like, price range before we decide if it's,
Yeah, get a ballpark idea first.
yeah.
I'm good.
Typically, if we put something out to bid before we have a budget, it's contingent on having funds available.
Mhm.
So they know when they're bidding on it that if it's not passed through some type of budget mechanism or unassigned fund balance, we're not gonna award the bid.
Is there something that we need to show them that allocates a certain amount?
No.
No, we just
No,
put
we
it
wouldn't.
contingent.
So you put it in the bid specs, subject to approval on the
Like I did
final
last
budget.
year, I just
Right.
said contingent upon town
Well, like-
council adopting a budget.
You got 2 or 3 others here tonight the same way, so that's exactly the same. My point, what's the age of the library? I'm not really sure I'm comfortable actually going fund balance for something that's $6,000. I would look the more of that as a repair line item.
The library, I want to say was mid-2000s, like 2005 timeframe, but again, I'd have to
Okay,
look back. I know the one at the Falls was done before 2001, and the library's been done since I've been here. And that's sometime between 2001 and now.
we've heard one yes, move forward. We've heard one little leery on the subject. What's the wish of the council? I'm okay with at least moving forward, to at least knowing, because,
Get an idea what the number is.
Right,
Number
and then
is-
decide.
Second.
need a second. All in favor?
5-0, carried.
Thank you.
And
I will
then-
say, we still have
Oh, yeah.
Unitil answers to get. I mean,
Right.
this-
Yeah, there's a
stop.
lot,
Right.
the key piece that I would take away for you is it gives you the ability to be able to have something by that meeting in June, for your purposes, put it on the list and,
And we can decide how we're gonna.
We are
The
coming out of
funding.
heating season, but it's only
Right.
6 months away, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
back again.
right. Yeah, it's better to be talking about
Oh, yes.
a boiler replacement when you don't need it versus the need when the price
Bill
goes
of
up and
January
everybody's
when it
billing.
explodes.
Right.
Oh, and on top of that, I mean, Unitil needs to know who the commitments are from.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
That makes a
No,
difference for everyone down the line.
Right, and I heard that from the Moxie store and a few other folks at the planning board meeting as well, too. So there is definitely interest below you on the street to be able to make it work up to that corner, so they're hoping to build all the way up through accordingly.
I think we definitely want to build in the connection with Unitil. It's just a question of, what do we choose to
Right.
do for the actual
Funding.
upgrades, but we want that connection there.
Yep.
So we have a choice.
3.5 hours, we couldn't come up with that, but that's all right.
Gotta
Yes,
still vote.
keep going. Next item, Twyla.
Order 2017-99, the bid item.
Well, as you alluded to, I was going through last year's requests right around the same time, I guess. And again, based on the council workshop, I'd like the permission to go out to bid for the 2 cabin chassis that we discussed, as well as the paving RFP, and then the sidewalk snow removal bid. And then, since I was already here, I threw in road striping and road salt, since those will be coming around again soon.
So the striping is for next budget season, not
Correct.
this. You've already got this one coming.
Correct. And the only thing I'm curious of, because I'd like to, I mean, each year it's one of those deals, I'd love to get it done before Moxie, but I don't, they'd have to do it like right at the end of June. and then
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in
No,
July.
that is breaking the rule. Right. Right.
It'd be done in June right away.
As long as you haven't paid anything and you're
Or
committed to
July.
starting on July 1 and have it done by Moxie, yes, you're
Yeah.
fine. Right,
So anyway, as close to Moxie as possible.
right. Anybody ill opposed to allowing him to actually start this? It's a very small construction season, and learning from last year's back orders with the truck. And, well, the salt is, that's the other discussion associated with the, surprised you didn't throw the salt barn on here, but I appreciate you not, because I think that's gonna be a bigger lead balloon when we try to.
Hoping for the realistic stuff first.
Correct. I'll make the motion.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Order passed 5-0.
Thank you. Next item, 12.
Order 2017-100, permission to join Maine Water Wastewater Agency Response Network.
I think in your packet, you get everything, flyer, the contract, the 1 yards. This is basically a request to join, to sign an agreement with MEWARN, which is a mutual aid and assistance agreement for Maine Wastewater Agency Response Network. It's basically free to join. I think it's similar scenario to the fire department's mutual aid agreements, where in this instance, if it was a catastrophe or major emergency, that we would be part of a group that we could either lend services or obtain services if necessary. So this is just a formality to get permission to join this.
Are you the official, or is Diane the official on that?
You've got 4 different offers here. You can request assistance, offer assistance, or refuse assistance. She can
Right.
refuse assistance.
Is there a copy of the agreement?
Yes, it's in the
It's in
packet.
here?
Yeah. My question is she as town manager the official, or are you as public works director?
I think that's up to you.
Who we determine?
I believe so, yeah.
The only reason I was asking is because when he gets into the nuts and bolts of the billing and that type of stuff, are we setting you up for failure being in over your skill set associated with that? That's the only reason I was asking.
When it comes to contracts, I prefer Diane's name on it.
Okay, I would agree, but obviously she's gonna have your input on that dialogue. I just think that's why I was asking.
Yep.
Member communities in the area?
I want to say everyone around. I mean, from what Steve informed me, because he went to the training, there's not many of us that are not.
Avioli.
Steve Avioli.
I wouldn't take a recommendation from
The where? Coming from?
Mr. Avioli.
Steve Avioli is the operations
Yeah.
manager for the sewer department.
No, I'm good with the second one.
I'll make the motion.
I need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Order passed 5-0.
Next item, 12.
Order 2017-101, schedule special meeting prior to budget workshop on April 25th.
What time are you looking for?
5 minutes before your meeting?
Quarter of?
It doesn't, I mean.
It's just for the purpose of award.
I should have bids tomorrow for the excavation work on the 3 roads that we're working on, as well as I'll have the culvert pricing, and that needs your vote to be able to move forward. I could wait another week, but there was a meeting anyway, and. we
Can
would be
everybody
here
do
anyway.
6:45 next Tuesday? Need a first.
I'll make the motion.
I'll
Need a
second.
second. All in favor?
Order passed,
Thank you.
5-0.
Next item.
Order 2017-102, the JAG Burn Grant application.
Good evening, Mark Hagan, Chief of Police. Federal government awards grant money to law enforcement agencies on an annual basis based on our annual crime statistics. So in this particular case, Lisbon's been awarded $2,859, and it's already been awarded to us. All we have to do is accept it. We would like to ask permission to apply for basically and accept and spend the money. We need a new radar unit in one of our cruisers, and we need new batteries in some of our portables. So that's what we're asking for tonight.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All 3 conditions, be able to allow him to do all 3 pieces
Yes.
of that.
All 3
Absolutely.
pieces.
5-0.
We don't have to see it again.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Go. Do it.
Next item.
Order 2017-103, underage drinking enforcement task force grant application.
And basically, this is a grant that the Androscoggin County Sheriff's Office has already received, and it addresses consumption of alcohol by minors. So what they have asked us to do is join their task force. If we join their task force, we will be eligible to have officers work overtime alcohol enforcement details in Lisbon. It really doesn't have much to do. We don't have to go out to other agencies. It's just by signing on, saying we're in favor of this, we can spend their money instead of ours. So that's what we're looking for.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Order passed, 5-0.
Thank you, sir.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. We'll see.
No left turns, people. Next item, 12.
Order 2017-104, set a different meeting date for the July 4th council meeting.
It's not going to be July 3rd, I can tell you that. If anybody's trying to grab a long weekend, it's,
You
What
want
is-
to skip a meeting?
Whoa.
That sounds like a lovely idea, but what crap show are we coming back to?
Right.
We could do the 5th, Wednesday.
What's Wednesday night if we were to say the 5th because of the holiday? No?
That entire week's off for me.
And having,
What are we doing the next week?
then you,
What's our,
July 11th?
July 11th? Do we have anything then?
Because the budget's gone by.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just push it to the,
don't
the
look
11th.
for me. So in that regard, I would go with her original inclination if we could actually skip the meeting, but.
yeah. I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Order passed, 5-0.
No, we're skipping.
So easy that was.
Next item, 12.
Order 2017-105, election process for MMA Executive Committee and Vice President.
The packet?
It's in the packet,
It is.
and it's all spelled out, and it basically instructs us if anybody is interested in being on the executive committee, you need to have it completed by May 1st. And the vice president part of it, you actually have to have been on the executive committee for a year. So that wouldn't relate to us. My question is if anybody was interested in this and it requires any action at all. Any interest? Any interest?
Maybe.
Yeah.
You have to know right now.
No. Let Diane know.
We
It-
still have time, right?
It's just like,
First, you said?
May 1st, I believe, is when anybody that's expressing an interest is the application due. So,
Oh, well, then you would have to,
No
you don't
sooner.
have another meeting, so you have to nominate the person.
well, any other fish other than Mr. Crawford that might potentially be interested in this? If not, then let's do it conditionally. If he chooses to move forward, are you guys okay with allowing me to nominate Mr. Crawford if he chooses to?
Absolutely.
Certainly.
Let's make that an official
Motion.
motion. Second?
Seconded.
All in favor? That's conditional upon whether you're
If you want
interested.
to.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Next item.
You will need to sign something before you leave tonight.
Mhm.
Okay, next item is other business, council committee reports.
School department, Mr. Albert is out, so we'll
Somebody's got
postpone that
it
one.
here somewhere.
Planning board, they met Thursday night in Kelly T-Burge at 18 Hinckley Street. Got a conditional use for her daycare. And they continue working on the comprehensive plan, and that would be my report. Water department,
Nothing to report right now.
conservation,
Nothing to report?
recreation,
I have to touch base with Mark.
okay? County is nothing to report. Library, sir.
They just got the green light from the state to switch over to the main interlibrary loan system, the MILL, or whatever it is that they're switching over to. I believe they're going to be closed on Tuesday, I think it is. And do you have the date when the library's going to be closed? I think it's like this 9th, maybe, in May.
No,
It's either the 2nd or the 9th, I'm not sure which one. But I know they're going to be closed for one day for training, and they're hoping to be open for the rest of the time. But there may be, they're switching over all the computer systems and stuff. So, if you go in there on, Friday there, be careful that there may be, people working around and trying to get the system switched over. So just be, forgiving if they're backed up.
Okay. That everything?
Yep.
Next item,
Yeah,
12.
May 9th, it says training 9 to 4.
Yep.
Next item?
Yep.
Town managers report.
I want to just go back up to the meeting in July. If something should arise that we really need action before the 18th, I'll let you know, and maybe you can just schedule a special meeting, just in case something should come up, so,
You need 4 for the quorum and public
That's right.
notice, right?
that's all.
Let's handle it that way, but let's see if
Yep.
we can't either stack the meeting before or after and deal with it that way.
Ryan and I, on the 25th, we're going up, I might have told you this already, but in case I didn't, we're going up to Augusta to meet with MDOT to talk about Main Street and some other things that we have going. So hopefully we'll come back with some information, and hopefully they'll be able to find some funds just to get us by for the next couple of springs before they start construction. That's all I have.
Perfect. Next item, Twyla.
Finance director's report.
Lydia Colston, Finance Director. I gave you summaries of the expenditures and revenues. A couple of those items might have varied a little bit just because some journal entries were made right after. They didn't know I'd already run the reports, but they were nothing. It was like interest income and whatnot. I did a recap of July through March, and starting out with the general government revenues, so far, based on our budget, we have collected approximately 99% of the budgeted revenue for fiscal year 2017. Comparing that with the same time frame in 2016, approximately 96.7 had been collected. Keep in mind there were quite a few audit adjustments last year, so I tried to smooth it out, but I may have missed timing-wise. By year-end, it'll all be accurate. Couple of items to highlight. State revenue sharing brought in $427,000 for these 9 months versus the $419,000 last year. Excise tax, we have collected about 74% of the budget with $1.4 million compared with last year at 78% with the same dollar amount of $1.4 million. And the reason the percentage increased is because we increased the budget amounts. I'm hoping with sunny weather, people are going to buy new cars, and we're going to see that, top last year, but we still have 3 months to go.
the 74 to 80% seems to be that magic number, so hopeful that
Yeah. Well,
20% left coming in that last 3 months doesn't seem unrealistic.
no, and spring typically sees car sales anyway, so, you know, people are emerging from their igloos and spending money.
Tax returns.
That's right. For the, 4 months that we have until we have to eat again?
Well, you worked the first 4 months for the federal government anyways.
That's
so-
right. So those are the major items for revenue. I did have a couple of points on the timing of some of them. The state road, Route 9 revenue, where we have invoiced for $15,000. Public Works has let me know that it should be in within the next week or two, depending, they've billed them, so we're just waiting on the state. For the BETE reimbursement and homestead and veterans, those all received subsequent to year end, and I don't anticipate any changes there. So at 6:30 year end, we'll book an AR for that. And the other thing I noted was that for the sewer department, revenues overall are down, but this, I reviewed quite a few of the consumption and usage reports comparatively, and based on what I've seen so far, I'm seeing a large decrease in both usage and consumption, which would account for the decreased revenue. Any questions on revenues?
Did you, I know the revenues for the budget this coming year. There was a delay in getting those to be able to look at this. Have you looked at the first 9 months to see on some of these revenues reflective to minimize the bumps in the road
Yes.
next year?
Yeah, I
That was the
reviewed
intention?
last year and this year to try and smooth out anything.
Okay,
I mean, I didn't go through it with a fine tooth comb, but I tried to pick out anything that was significant.
okay. What am I missing on Homestead when we haven't collected anything year to date? Is that something done once a year at annual, or how's that work?
What you're seeing on your report is just a culmination of a bunch of journal entry errors, so the net effect is right. We have collected, I have the report here. You're talking Homestead?
Yeah.
We've
right.
collected so far 218,000 out of, the current budget hasn't been, it's embedded in the tax commitment.
Okay, that's what it had to be
Right.
somewhere else.
Yep.
Is the intent, because I'm seeing it here, because it's gonna be broken out in 2018, so you'll see the components? Is that,
Should be broken out now.
It should
We're
be,
gonna have to
I think that
journal
was
entry
one of the
now.
cases
Okay.
of a journal entry that
Okay.
should have been a beginning balance and it wasn't, so I can go back and change that and update it for you.
no, that's fine, but what I heard in that regard is the 13.3 is accurate, the components in there may be some journal entries between
Exactly.
accounts. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Likewise, smaller potatoes, but supplementals, I'm assuming that's embedded in, that won't be a supplemental next year, it'll actually be in the tax base, so
Exactly.
that'll be evened out,
Yep.
No.
No?
supplemental.
Supplementals will always be separate. They are not gonna be part of the tax commitment.
We just
Right,
don't
but we
budget.
won't have the neighborhood of 39,000 next year as
No,
a
no, no.
supplemental, it'll be
That-
in the tax, is what I was hearing. There'll be different people's, different
Right, I
supplementals.
s- yes,
It won't always be the
yes.
same basket of goods, they go between those two accounts.
Yep. Unless it's a tree growth supplemental, then you'll always see that separate.
Right. Miscellaneous revenue?
Last year, we had, it looked like there was a $29,000 reserve that was released so it could lapse into undesignated fund balance. I found the journal entry on it, but I don't know what makes up that 29,000, what that reserve was for. It,
Okay.
and it was lapsed into the revenue so that it would go into the undesignated.
If it came in a different category, so it's not a huge, it's not
That's what it looked like.
it's not a specific large amount, it just,
Yeah, it was 29,000 on that.
we collected 16 on a budget of 0, so I was just wondering what kind of stuff actually fell into miscellaneous, is my guess. Are you gonna do anything on expenditures at all?
I
Or you-
am.
Okay, right on, I'll let you go.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything on revenues? I'm sorry. Go for it.
So total expenditures for the year is up about 435,000 over the same period in the prior year. Many of the departments going through and looking at a comparison with last year, we're seeing a lot of increases in wages, retirement, medical insurance, all directly related to turnover. People accepting medical insurance where prior or predecessors hadn't, that kind of thing. So that accounts for a good amount of the little dollar amount of variances. Couple of highlighted notes for technology budget. Right now, we're up over about 75,000 from last year, and that is largely related to the Munis transfer. Additional software costs and training that goes along with that. For the town buildings, we've had quite a few higher ticket repairs this year. Hose tower insulation, entrance doors, and the library both had significant improvements to that, increasing it over last year. And Public Works, well, winter was pretty bad.
Ryan assured us he's going to make it up in the other line items.
The winter Public Works, just the salt alone was up a large portion of the variance from last year. And then for regular Public Works, we had quite a few unexpected culvert, stone drain repairs, whatnot, that were not required in the prior year. I think that's the highlight of what I had marked as some unusual items. Were there any other ones that you picked out that you might have questions on?
You touched on the fire and the PW coming in under budget, because they got some line items that are pretty labor in the fire department, I know.
The fire department is, I know that, that Chief Gallipo and Diana have been in talks about the wages, and I'm not entirely sure of the details of that, other than I know that that's what's accounting for their increase in their department. It's pretty much all wage line. And then the only other thing I have that I picked out was for the hydrant rental in Public Works. This was a timing issue, and I didn't get it corrected before there, but in this year, we've recognized the full expense, whereas last year they did it month by month.
Right,
So
I see that.
That's
see
the
that.
difference there. And then that was about
Debt
it.
service.
Yep. Oh, debt service. We have, right now, the change from last year is down 18,000 about, and that's due to we've retired 3 or 4 leases. Even though we've added 2, it added up to be more than the 2 that we added. And then capital outlay as well. We retired one of the bonds, so that's gone down, as well as, decreased interest costs going on with the years. So that's down about 8,000.
We're at 96% year to date. Are we going to come in under or over budget on that? And the reason I ask is, are we set for that going into next year so we don't have that same shortfall?
We're at, no, we're right on target for this year.
Okay.
Oh,
that's,
the one difference you're seeing is on account 5411,
yep,
the Manic dump truck.
yep.
Last year's payment wasn't made, so this year
So it came out of this year and, yep, okay.
that's what the overage
That's
for
fine,
that
it's
was.
between years. It's not cool on a debt
And it's
it's
paid
not
off.
a cool on a debt service schedule for somebody that's investment portfolio, but we don't need to air that publicly after I just did.
But the 5427, we have money left in that account
Okay.
because of the rebates, or the.
No, not,
This went down.
you're on debt service, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
No,
specifically.
that payment wasn't made it was made in April. That's why that's showing over.
One of these, though, has money left over because of the interest.
That is the QECB, that's in capital outlay.
Okay.
I've applied for a direct subsidy for that, and depending on the IRS, I don't know when that's gonna come in, but it's approximately 24,000 There is a federal sequestration rate, but I don't know how much it is for this year yet. We'll find out when it comes in.
So if I'm reading this correctly, the only thing we have left to pay for in that line would be the front-end loader,
Yep.
the PW 550, and the new police vehicle. So we're going to be within that, with the one exception of the payment from last year on the Manic
Exactly.
dump trailer. Okay.
Lydia, which one under bonds are we gonna have? We're gonna have almost 10,000 left over because of they refinanced one of the debt payments, debt schedules. It was a bond bank.
Yeah,
So when we did it last year, we raised the old amount, and now we've got a new amount.
I
can't remember
want to
which one
say it was account 5526, but I'd have to look. I didn't write that down here.
So we raised too much in interest.
Yeah.
Almost to $10,000, and I've adjusted the budget going forward
Okay, that's good.
as well.
Rather than hold the rest of everybody here hostage, I marked up things that I think we want to look at this year versus next.
Okay.
Sit down with you and Diane at a later time just to actually see that, yeah, this is in the budget, this makes sense.
Gotcha.
It's looking like retirement on certain divisions, and the fact is when they got 0 year to date, is it journal entry at year end that applies it, or is it actually paid for elsewhere?
In some cases, and I know, which department are you talking at specifically? You have 0?
You get into get into the boards and that type of stuff.
I
Elected
think at that point, it
officials,
was
I
just a
guess.
matter of reclassification, that one year it was put somewhere, and this year it's being put somewhere else.
Right, but my point being in that regard is we've already got a budget estimate for this year. And if you're not having any money this year already in that line, there's no sense actually budgeting it there again next year if the damage is already done.
Right.
You know, so there are cuts that I would make. They're not a heck of a lot of money, but they would add up when you look at it
Yeah.
with all of them in total. You know, so I think it just warrants that discussion for specific items. So I don't need to beleaguer the point tonight. We can sit down and, yeah, you got this, no, we don't, nothing on it, and just keep moving forward.
Okay.
So I'll set something up with the two of you. Anybody else have anything for Lydia? I appreciate it. Looking at everything else that we're trying to absorb on the budget increase, your perspective, what you're seeing from financial on the revenue and expenditure side, to know that that input is actually playing into what we're looking at for content for next year.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chris would say, go Lydia.
Go, Lydia.
Next item, Delilah.
Written department head reports.
I read them. My question, there's, in the library's report, there's a gift from an endowment. Is that something that actually has to come here, or is that,
It does.
is that treated the same as grant funds?
Yes.
But you're in the process of finding it out, what's involved?
Right, you're gonna have to accept it, and then we'll set it up in its own account.
Okay. That's all I was questioning on that, is just,
Typically wouldn't do that till we get the check. Right now, it's in probate, right?
right, and are they asking for anything odd? I know, I use the example, okay, it's just
I don't think-
benefit
I
the
don't
programming or something
Think
of
there
that
are
nature.
any restrictions to how to spend it. Lydia looked it up.
Thank you.
The copy of the will just stipulates the amount that they left to the Lisbon Library. There's no restrictions on it, anything. It just says a monetary gift of $1,000, and that was it.
Okay. I just, in my experience, nonprofits and that type of stuff, sometimes it's easier to refuse the gift than deal with the conditions. And that's why I was asking. Fire awards. They were, excuse me, recognition from their banquet that Diane and I attended the other night. I'd like to recognize recipients E.T. Smith Hose Company Firefighter of the Year, Josh Dubois. Fire Officer of the Year, Lieutenant Chad Pelletier. Lisbon Falls Fire Company Officer of the Year, Lieutenant Tom Roble. Firefighter of the Year, Alex Teberge. Top 3 responders for this year, Captain Jim Beal for logging 150 hours, Lieutenant Tom Roble for 150 hours, and firefighter Leo Hughes for 144 hours as well. And Chief's Excellence Award was presented to Josh Dubois for his dedication and leadership to the fire department. I'd like to thank those individuals for everything they do for our community. Moving right on.
Audience participation for new items.
Brian Marshall, Lisbon Falls. The Lisbon Development Committee has a meeting this Thursday. It actually isn't a real exciting meeting, but we invite you all to come. We have one member that is very passionate about the graffiti in town, and when she brought it up at a last meeting. We looked at it, multiple examples, probably 20 to 30 different areas in town has pretty good graffiti, even on our walking trails. So it is something that needs to be addressed. It's something that actually doesn't really turn people on when they come through town. So we're having a meeting, and there's going to be some department heads and people that kind of play, hopefully, into how this works in town. We really don't have what we've found out. We really don't have much of an ordinance or a procedure on how it's taken care of, and a lot of communities have put that into place to try to get taken care of quickly as possible. It also takes funds. So we're having a meeting, just trying to brainstorm with people that actually come with somewhat responsibilities of the town that would actually need to be enforced or how it's addressed. So we're going to do some brainstorming, look, and try to find out what other communities do. So at some point in time, we'll be coming back to council, hopefully, to put some type of official procedure together, how that's handled. It seems like a pretty simple thing, but as a town, if you drive through, it makes a big factor, and if it's not taken care of, it just seems to get bigger. So again, it's an open invitation for the council to come to our meeting. It may not be real exciting, but it's something hopefully we'll bring forward to have some type of direction done by the council to put some type of policy in place.
What time and where?
It's actually Thursday night. It's usually in the meeting room next door, and I believe we're starting at 5:30, but I would actually have to verify that just to make sure.
Thank you, sir.
They did catch the graffiti artist, didn't they? So
I believe they did. I mean,
one of them anyway.
how would I say this really politely? The downfall of a lot of that type of graffiti gets done, and a lot of times it's the people who don't actually have the ability to go back and correct it after, or the ones I guess there's a lot of challenges that come along with the idea of reversing graffiti.
Oh, yes.
And a lot of it is actually really put to the the property owner, which a lot of it is the town. And unless you have some type of policy in place or some types of funds to correct it. Cheryl Haggerty has actually been out there scrubbing graffiti off of signs, but unfortunately, if you go to a walking trail, it's kind of unfortunate, but we actually have in Mill Street where we're having new development, and we're having, $250,000, $300,000 homes built, and if you look down the road, you can see a long fence on a walking trail that has, 50, 70 feet of graffiti written on it, which isn't really an attraction to that area, but the downfall is a natural fence. So when someone writes on it, at that point in time, how do you correct it, So if people picked on things to, glass or something like that to actually spray on, it's not a big deal, but when it starts going on natural substances, like on a walking trail, there's multiple areas where people walk the walking trail, they're going to see graffiti now, which again, it's just a situation that we just need to figure out how we can address it, and I'm sure it can be. It's just a matter of putting the right policy in place and the people behind it take care of it. And a lot of it's community. I think there's a lot of people in our community that would stand up and actually help take care of it, but it has to be that the procedure to follow. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Next item, 12.
Counselor Communications?
Anyone?
Well, I was out there on the walking trail on Monday, and I saw some of the things that Fern was talking about, and I noticed some of the signboards. They had the like plexiglass in front of it, and people had painted on the plexiglass, so we're gonna have to replace that probably. So it might be a good idea to just have a fund for some replacement stuff, whether it's paint or things like that, and then see if we can get volunteers in the community to help. We provide the materials, and people provide a little bit of volunteer time, and we could clean it up that way.
Anyone else? Next item, 12.
Is appointments. Order 2017-106, Civil Constable Renewal, Randall Burnham,
I
works
need-
through Ace Security.
I need a motion.
Make a motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Order passed, 5-0.
Next item, 12.
Executive session, order 2017-107 to go into executive session for 1 MRSA, section 4056D, labor negotiations, and 6E, consultations with legal counsel.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Order passed, 5-0.
Will we be coming back for the vote?
7:50. We may have a vote.
We may have a vote.
Are you staying in here or going in the other room?
We're staying in here.
Okay, let me turn everything off.
From the holding cell.
I just hear yelling down
Draw your weapons and take cover. What do you say, Dan?